welcome to a follow along type of stretching routine slash class. This one is a very straightforward class and I hope that y'all enjoy it. If y'all like these types of videos, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also if y'all are interested in more of foam roller slash stretching routine videos, I have linked some of the videos that I've done in the description down below as well, which also incorporates some more advanced stretching techniques as well, and PNF forms and techniques. Today, I'm not gonna go super into the tools that I'm using today, but if y'all are interested, again, I have a separate video on just tools if you're interested. But I am gonna be just talking briefly about some foam rollers that y'all can potentially use, especially if you are in the market to purchase a new one, or you're just like, so many foam rollers out there in the market, what do I choose? So for all of my beginner clients, I always like to advise everyone to use more of a flat surface foam roller because this is a more delicate and it's not so aggressive in your face type of roller. So I always recommend something like flat like this, a very simple one. Y'all can pretty much find this anywhere in the world at this point, online, in the stores, etc., etc. And I do have a more advanced technique rolling PNF system from Trigger Point, and this one is the wave roller, and this one gets a little bit deeper into your fascia lining. So if y'all are like looking for something a little bit deeper and y'all already used to this type, the flat surface, I would definitely recommend something with more grooves. They even have a rumble roller. I don't own one of those, but I used to work for a gym that had it, and the rumble rollers are really, really great. Those are pretty much the most aggressive ones on the market at this point, in addition to some vibrating foam rollers. But again, having some grooves, without grooves, whatever you'd like to do. We're gonna get right into it. Today I'm actually gonna use this one because I'm not really in the mood to get really aggressive with it. So before we start our foam roller technique today, I wanted to go ahead and find ourselves in a 4-point stance, or coming into 4-point stance. We wanna go ahead and come into a cat-cow, giving yourself some nice love for this beautiful Valentine season. We're inhaling, we're opening the chest. Your eye gaze is going above your level of the horizon towards the ceiling or the sky, wherever you may be. Exhalation to bring your navel up towards the sky, bringing your chin in towards your chest, keeping soft elbows and really feeling a nice heat in the abdomen here. Beautiful. We'll take this at your own comfortable pace, bringing yourself in a beautiful cat-cow, inhaling to really reach and feel a nice stretch in the forward frontal, and exhaling to scoop it up, really feeling your navel drawing in, heat in the abdomen. Once you get used to the motion, you can either keep your eyes open or a soft close to just gently release into the facial features and really just diving deep into this beautiful warm-up stretch and movement. We're doing a little bit of a movement before we start into foam rolling today so that we're not jumping right into it, and really just making sure your fascia lining is warmed up. And it's kind of like when you go to a massage therapist or a masseuse, you know, if they just put their elbow right into your back or wherever you are sore, right, you're gonna be like, oh, that's a little bit too much. So that's why we're prepping with movement today, especially if you've never done foam rolling before. This is so good for that. Let's do last cat-cow here. Really diving deep into this beautiful frontal and back release. Nice. Beautiful. And let's go ahead and reset back into 4-point stance. Now we're going to go ahead and come into our T-spine rotation, lengthening through the top arm. It doesn't matter which side we start with, since we're going to do both anyways. Inhale here, and then exhaling, rotating from the waistline, your obliques, and scooping that arm down and below. And you can either keep yourself a little bit higher today if you're not feeling the super deep line, you can keep it here, scooping up here, or if you like, you can bring yourself a little bit further into a hover. So it's almost like you're touching your triceps and shoulder onto the floor, but you're like, just kidding, and you're bringing it up, right up and back into our beautiful rotation. Inhale here, and exhale, scoop the belly, keeping your navel drawn in towards your spine, really digging deep into this beautiful lat opener, back strengthener, activator, and core Activator, yes, nice. Let's do 2 more just like that. We're not doing a workout today, so just taking it nice and easy. Beautiful. Nice. Reminder to keep breathing, especially in areas of tension. We never want to hold our breath. Last rep right here. Awesome. And let's go ahead and slowly now switch to the opposite side. Inhale, reaching your fingertips nice and long, and exhaling, hovering that arm off the floor, really feeling your waistline now. And a reminder to not shift your hips side to side aggressively like this, right? You want to make sure your tops or the bones of the pelvis are facing towards the floor here. So we want to make sure we're not opening the pelvis out of neutral. Nice. Really feeling your shoulder blades warming up in the back as well. Our rhomboids are also being incorporated here. Beautiful, along with our core, deep core line for the transverse plane of motion today. Nice. Let's do last 2 reps right here. Breathing deeply. Perhaps you get a little bit deeper into the motion. Nice. Last rep right here. Marinate into this beautiful rotation and activation. Nice. And let's go ahead and slowly now sit your hips back, kind of like in a child's pose, if you will. This is a child's pose, but we're going to come right out of it, so don't get too comfy. Inhaling, reset, take a nice full breath, and take 1 deep exhalation collectively. And on your next inhalation, we're going to scoop your belly button up towards the sky, keep it pressed in towards your back, and bring yourself into more of a forward 4-point stance. So we're not in that neutral, but bringing it a little bit more forward. So we're incorporating more into the arms, the core, and then now pushing your hips back all the way into child's pose. Beautiful. Or lifted child pose. We're not getting too comfy today. And then bring yourself again, release, bring yourself forward. Activate through the core, the shoulders, and the back. Nice. For my friends who do have any kind of wrist sensitivity, make sure to flip your palms up towards the sky in the child's pose. And that's gonna really dig deep into a nice activator for a stretch all the way from the forearms in this frontal line through the shoulder. Nice. Awesome work, everyone. Let's do 1 more just like this, and then we'll get right into rolling today. Beautiful work, everyone. Should feel so, so nice. Awesome. And let's go ahead and slowly now, coming back into our foam roller, we're gonna go ahead and start on our side lying position. Again, it doesn't matter which side we start with because we're gonna hit both sides. We're gonna go ahead and come into a 45-degree line for our foam roller today. So not directly parallel, but 45-degree. Again, we're trying to hit the line of the back, the lats, and underneath the armpit here. Reminder to never roll on the rib cage because our rib cage is very sensitive, right? We don't want to be rolling on bones today. We want to be rolling on fascia. That's the whole point of foam rolling. So whenever you're here, again, we're not really watching Netflix. We're not slouching down into it. We want to make sure you're mindful about bringing your sidelines still activating, even though this is a release up here. Nice. Bending into your knees. Your top arm is just going to be hanging out here, and your hand can either be doing what I'm doing here, just cradling it so you're not feeling any neck tension, or you can keep your arm straight away from you if this feels better and your neck feels amazing. Either way, you can either just find a good spot. You can go up and down right here, finding a nice spot, or you can go forward and backwards. So finding a nice release here. For my friends who work out a lot like myself, and I always promote working out on this channel, so I thought this would be a good reset video to kind of combat all these workout videos I've been throwing out into the interwebs. But it's such a good way to release, especially if you do a lot of plank motions, if you're a Pilates princess, or you just like to do a lot of ab work and you are in a lot of planks, or even gripping, right? This is all related right here. Forearm tension, lat tension, all that good stuff. So whenever you find a good position, whether you're going up and down or forward and backwards here, Once you find a good spot, you always want to make sure you hold for a minimum of 30 seconds upwards towards 90 seconds. For the sake of time for this video, I'm not going to be doing 90 seconds because that's going to be way over this video and it's probably going to be like an hour long, so we're not going to do that. But for my friends who develop a routine, you know, once you're comfortable doing this on your own, I highly recommend going upwards towards 90 seconds or even 60 seconds. But really finding a nice spot so that you really hold that nice release. The reason why we want to hold a minimum of 30 seconds per muscle group or activation or fascia lining is because we want to make sure that the initial 10 seconds is for the fascia lining to release and the muscle that is inside surrounding the fascia or surrounded by this fascia is releasing, and then an extra 20 seconds for the blood flow to kick right back in. So we want to make sure, as much as this is a muscle releasing technique, this is also how to incorporate a lot more blood flow so that we're restoring the area and we're minimizing injury. All right, once you find a nice release on this side, we're just gonna simply switch to the opposite side. Again, if you want a little bit more marination on each muscle group or each fascia lining, make sure to hold a little bit longer or pause this video and just marinate a little bit longer. All right, second side, diagonal line, and just a reminder, the sides can feel different here. So you might find that one side is a little bit more tense than the other side. You might find a spot more instantly than the opposite side, and that's totally normal. I'm definitely feeling this one on this side a lot more. So I am right hand dominant, so that's probably why. But either way, again, once you find a good position, you're just gonna hold it down and just breathe. Do not hold the breath. We are always so guilty, including myself, to hold the breath, especially when things get a little bit tense, a little bit tight. You wanna make sure you give yourself a lot of nourishment, a lot of love by breathing to really give your muscles, fascia, and also just your overall health of breathing deeply is so important because breathing is connected to a lot of good benefits, especially deep breathing. A lot of times our bodies are in a very fast-paced environment. We have a lot of things going on around us. So really focusing on tuning into yourself and really prioritizing yourself, especially in these moments, because we work for other people all the time. We're always going, going, going. So this is a time for a reset and a time for yourself. Nice. Awesome. And let's go ahead and slowly now come off of this one. We're gonna go ahead and come into kind of like a child's pose situation. We're gonna use this foam roller today. You can either be on your palms today and release this way, or if you'd like to get a little bit deeper of a forearm release, you can bring both of your forearms on and coming into a deep, kind of like a child's pose, but not so much child's pose because we're gonna bring your arms forward. Nice release for the lat line and your spine and your whole back right here. So again, you can come up to combat out of it and find a position this way. So really rolling up and then releasing all the way back down. Or once you find a good position, you've done this a couple times and you're like, oh, I already found it. I already feel like a good stretch right here. You're just gonna hold it down. Again, you can be on your palms or you can bring the foam roller all the way up toward your palms to get a little bit deeper. But again, every body is different, and every time you do foam rolling, it's gonna be a little bit different. So just listening to your body here and know that every variation is important, and you might find that you do one variation in one practice and another time, or another variation in another practice. So know that every time you do this, it could be different. That's why it's called foam rolling and self-exploration. Nice. We'll stay here for a couple more moments, really breathing deeply here. Last few moments to get deeper into this beautiful back release and open or stretch. Beautiful work. And whenever you're ready, rolling right back up into our kneeling position. coming out of it, and we're gonna be in our seating position. We're gonna go ahead and bring now the foam roller underneath your buttocks, and here, a couple different variations, especially if you've never done this before. This might be a really weird sensation. So in that case, you can just keep your feet down, both together on the floor here, and just rock forward, backwards, or you can go side to side, bringing your knees to one direction and then the other, and finding it in this direction. For my friends who've done this a couple times and want to get a little bit deeper, you can crisscross your leg one at a time, kind of like a figure 8 stretch, and bring that bottom heel towards the foam roller. So you get a deeper release here. Yeah, do you feel that? Nice. And once you're here, you can either just hold it down once you find a good position, or again, you rock side to side or forward, backwards. Nice. I just finished a glute workout today, so I definitely am feeling this one. And for my friends who are sitting a lot in, their workspace, all that good stuff, this one's a really good one. It's really good to combat a lot of glute inactivity. It's great for bringing blood flow back into our sits bone area, our seat. So necessary. Nice. And if you haven't already and you are doing single legs today, feel free to switch sides. And again, this video is a little bit faster paced because I want to make sure I hit all the muscle groups and fascia lining and webs that I have planned today. So feel free to pause the video if you want a little bit more marination in a muscle group and fascia lining that you're like, oh yeah, this really speaks to me today and I want to hold it for upwards of 90 seconds. Nice. And foam rolling is such an intimate time for yourself. You can even just keep your eyes closed and really dig deep into each position, especially if you feel tension in a lot of areas or certain areas and it feels targeted. It should feel so good. Nice, and let's go ahead and slowly release out of your glutes. Now we're gonna go ahead and come all the way down onto our calves. We're gonna go ahead and sit down onto your seat on the floor. And for my friends, a couple different options. You wanna take this a little bit more intense, you lift the hips up, rolling forward and backwards, or even stacking the feet here, and then digging deep side to side this way while keeping your hips up. So this one's a good one for releasing to our deep calves, back of our feet, legs right here. Or again, for my friends who want to take it down a notch, keeping your hips down and going forward, backwards with both legs on the foam roller. And you can even find a little bit more into your peroneals today by going side to side and getting really deep into the side lateral position of our lower leg, which a lot of people have a lot of tension, especially right now is winter time. You might not be watching this in winter time, but since I'm filming this in the winter time, a lot of people go skiing and a lot of my clients go skiing, and so they experience a lot of lateral tension because they're in a lot of standing motions, they're rocking side to side and skiing, or even snowboarding, they're in different planes of motion. So this one's a really good one for that as well. If you are an outdoor skier or a nature seeker, or just in general, it's just really good to release in areas that you don't tend to focus on, especially when you're at the gym or at the studio. Nice. Awesome. And once we find a good release for our calves, let's go ahead and release into our hips. So we're gonna go ahead and come into a few different options. For my more advanced seekers, people who want to get a little bit deeper today, you can come into the dynamic double frog, meaning both knees are out wide to the side, bringing the foam roller here in the inner thigh, groin region, and you can come here into a palms up, or you can come on your elbows here. And I'm going to turn to the sides so it's a little bit easier to see, but here you can either keep yourself upwards and just hold it down, finding a nice position side to side, etc., or just simply hold it down here. If you're also someone who owns lacrosse balls or tennis balls, y'all can also put balls underneath your inner thigh groin region, one on each side or both, and find a good release this way. For my friends who are like, oh my gosh, what the heck is she doing? We're gonna do single leg. So for single leg, we're gonna keep your still same positioning, except we're gonna release the back leg. Doesn't matter which leg because we're doing both, but just extending behind you. And again, here you can find yourself in a palms position, kind of like a seals pose or half seals pose in yoga. We're coming all the way down onto your elbows and just releasing this way. Again, your foam roller is into your inner thigh groin area, and you can again find a good position by rocking side to side or just simply holding it down once you find a good position here. And for my friends who want to take it a little bit more intense in this position and want to get a little bit more of a release for the glutes and also the outer portion of our thighs, you can feel free to lift into the leg. I'm going to show on this side because it's a little bit easier. We're going to go ahead and lift that leg up, same side foam roller, and down. Lift and down. It's going to get a little bit deeper, not only for our lateral side on the outside of your thigh and your glutes, but also a little bit deeper. You're gonna really feel that connection between your hip flexors and your thighs, your adductor complex and abductor complex. The abductors are the one outside because if aliens were to abduct your leg, right, and they're bringing it back to earth into your adductor because they're adding it back to your body. Anyways, that's a fun little way to know how to remember how to memorize these muscle groups because they sound very identical. Abductors and adductors. Nice. If you haven't already, let's go ahead and switch sides and just holding it down here and really marinating into this beautiful release. And for my friends who have trouble finding this one, I do have some clients occasionally, like, I can't find this one, I don't really feel my inner thighs or my hip flexors. You can feel free to adjust the knee. So you can bring the knee a little bit higher towards your navel, your midline, or you can drop it all the way down and bring the knee a little bit lower away from your midline. And sometimes you might find it better in those positions without finding it directly in the middle. You might find, oh, one side might be a little bit lower, one side a little bit higher. You can even do a staggered position like I'm doing right now, so you can find a little bit more depth or a little bit different positioning. So depending on how your body is and how your anatomy is, you might find this different positioning a little bit better and a little bit deeper releasing, especially for my flexible friends who are like, can't feel this one as much. Nice. And we'll be here for a couple more moments before we come right out of it. Nice. I hope that this video finds yourself in a nice release and really taking care of your body and for self-love during the season of self-care and nourishment. Beautiful. And let's go ahead and slowly now come off of this one. And ooh, I almost lost it there. We're gonna go right into our last release. And this one is quite tricky one. For my friends who do have foam roller, who have the roller balls or lacrosse balls or tennis balls, y'all might wanna use this one. Or if you have a nano foot roller, I'm not gonna bring mine out here, but y'all can use that as well. But anyways, if y'all like to lift your hips off the floor here and release into your legs, your foot specifically, your arches, all that good stuff, you can do that. Or if this is a little too much, sitting your hips back down and rolling side to side so you really get into your arches. Now, if you don't feel this one, I would advise, again, using a little bit smaller surface area, like even a water bottle. A really, really sturdy water bottle can really do the trick for this one as well, especially if you don't own any tennis balls, lacrosse balls, and this one you don't really feel as much. Or you can also roll a little bit more towards your heels or more towards your toes. And everyone feels tension differently on this one. You can also rock side to side, kind of like in a half circle kind of motion. So you really get deep into those arches. So depending on where your tension lies in your feet, this should feel really, really good. A lot of us are on our feet a long time, especially if you're in a standing job, you're in a very, like demanding job, this one is a really good one for that, and bringing blood flow back into the area here. Beautiful. Nice. And let's go ahead and slowly now release out of this one. All right, that is it for this video. That's all I have planned. Again, if y'all like more of these types of videos, I have linked them in the description down below. But thank you so much for joining this stretch and release, lengthening, blood flow, activating routine for yourself. I hope that y'all enjoyed it and have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you for showing up for you today. Bye, y'all.